Hi, welcome to our video on dialogue format. So what is the purpose of dialogue? Well, writers use dialogue for several reasons. The first is to let the reader hear the exact words or thoughts that the person or people in a story are having. The second is to add urgency or immediacy to the action that is occurring in the story. Another reason is to create white space on the page, which gives the reader's eyes a rest from too much black type. And a final reason is to directly quote source material in a research paper. That last one isn't used so much in stories as it is for more academic papers, but the setup is pretty much the same for both. So how do you format your dialogue? Well, because you directly quote what speakers are saying or thinking when you use dialogue, you must put quotation marks around the words that the person is speaking or thinking. So for example, we have the quote, "These prop boxes are heavy because someone weighed them down with bricks." Notice that the entire sentence, including the period, is enclosed in quotation marks in this example. Next, you want to tell who said the sentence or the section of dialogue, and you can do this in one of three ways. The first way is to introduce the quote with the person's name followed by a verb. So for example, Niles said, "These prop boxes are heavy because someone weighed them down with bricks." Notice that the words Niles said are followed by a comma and are not in quotation marks because they are not part of what the character actually said. Only put quotation marks around the words that the character actually speaks or thinks. The second way that you can get the character's name in there is to follow the quote with a verb and then the person's name, or you can flip that around and follow the quote with the person's name followed by the verb. So for example, "These prop boxes are heavy because someone weighed them down with bricks," said Niles. Or, "These prop boxes are heavy because someone weighed them down with bricks," Niles said. Notice that in both examples there is a comma before the closing quotation mark. Also notice that the period that ends the sentence comes after the last word in the sentence. The third way to get the character's name in there is to place the speaker's name and the verb in the middle of the quote. So for example, "These prop boxes are heavy," Niles said, or said Niles, "because someone weighed them down with bricks." Notice that there is a comma before the second quotation mark and one after the verb or the speaker's name. Also, the closing period is inside the final quotation mark in this example because the sentence ends with the word bricks. So now that you've got your basic dialogue structure down, now you might want to add some description to the dialogue, because adding description to dialogue is important for several reasons. It allows the reader to hear the speaker's tone of voice, to see what the speaker is doing while he or she is talking. It allows you to see what the other characters are doing while the speaker is talking. And it helps you understand the speaker's reasons for saying what he or she said in the manner in which he or she said it. So, how do you add the description? Well, you can add the description before the dialogue, you can add it after the dialogue, or you can add it right in the middle of the dialogue. And we're going to take a look at those three methods of adding description, beginning with adding it before the dialogue occurs. So let's look at this example. Niles bent down to pick up the fake gifts, but he struggled to stand up straight with the packages in his arms. With a low grunt and a light stagger to his step, he said, "These prop boxes are heavy because someone weighed them down with bricks." Notice that the description gives the reader a sense of what is happening and that Niles is having trouble picking up the boxes. Now let's take a look at how to incorporate the description after the dialogue. So in this example it reads, "These prop boxes are heavy because someone weighed them down with bricks," said Niles. He bent down to pick up the fake gifts, but he struggled to stand up straight with the packages in his arms. With a low grunt and a slight stagger to his step, he entered the apartment. Notice in this example that the description still gives the reader a sense of what is happening, and that Niles is having trouble picking up the boxes, even though the description occurs after the dialogue. Now let's take a look at an example that places the description right in the middle of the dialogue. For example, "These prop boxes are heavy," said Niles, bending down to pick up the fake gifts. As he struggled to stand up straight, he staggered a bit and grunted because someone weighed them down with bricks. Notice in this example that the description gives the reader a sense of what is happening and that Niles is having trouble picking up the boxes, even though the description occurs in the middle of the dialogue. Dialogue can be confusing if the writer does not structure the dialogue properly, and part of good dialogue structure includes knowing when to begin a new paragraph. You want to begin a new paragraph either when the speaker changes or when you want to begin a new idea or a little bit of description. So for example, Niles said, "These prop boxes are heavy because someone weighed them down with bricks." His brother Fraser answered, "Stop complaining, you ninny, and help me get them under the tree." "Stop yapping and help me," Niles snarled as he struggled to carry 3 packages at once. The 2 brothers snipped at each other as they hauled the heavy boxes into Fraser's apartment. Eventually, they wrestled all of the fake gifts under the Christmas tree before their father caught them. In this example, we see that the very first speaker is Niles, and he is complaining that the boxes are heavy. When Fraser speaks for the first time, we indent the paragraph, because this tells the reader that there is a new person speaking. So he says, "Stop complaining and help me get these boxes in." Then it is again Niles' turn to speak, and so once again we begin a new paragraph. He says, "Stop yapping and help me." Okay, so notice how it is indented each time the speaker changes. Now you'll notice in that last paragraph, no one is speaking. That is just extra description to help paint the scene for the reader. And because of that, we went ahead and indented the new paragraph. If you have any further questions on dialogue format, please be sure to see your instructor or visit the University Writing Center in 031 Library for additional help. See you next time.